Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today for this video. Today, I'm making this video because yesterday was a real win for real survivors. And I mean real survivors, huh? This case yesterday was all about who is the abuser, who is the victim, wasn't it? Two people fighting with complete opposite stories. You had one person saying that this person is abusing me, and I didn't do anything, didn't abuse them. And this person says, this person's abusing me, but I didn't do anything. So it really came down to who's telling the truth, isn't it? And that's what I want to talk about today. This video isn't totally about that case yesterday, about Johnny and Amber. But it's going to apply, and I'm going to refer to it many times. But I want to talk about this subject because it's happened to me many times, and it happens to tons and tons of survivors. Tons of you guys have been falsely accused. Tons of you guys have been abused horrifically, emotionally, psychologically, sexually, physically. And that person has accused you of doing it. And has maybe possibly convinced other people. And has caused a lot of damage. It's happened to me many times by many people. And it's awful. So I want to talk about that today. Before I do, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel, vote up or down, comment down below, ask me anything you want, share this video. Thank you very much. So I'm going to get into some of the things where you guys can kind of know when somebody comes to you, when you see this in your life. Maybe on TV again, right? Another case like this. But when someone's coming to you and has a story of being a victim, being abused, what do we do? Right? What do we do? And this is going to make you guys think about you telling your story to others. Now, what I hope this doesn't do is discourage any of you to tell your story. You have to. And I'm not saying publicly, you don't have to. But you got to tell your story. You got to talk. You got to tell it. You got to tell the truth. And I hope this doesn't discourage you, this case or this video or anything else, to not do that. Because some people lie. Oh well, that's the way it is. Your experiences are real and you needed to talk about them, okay? So I hope that it encourages you to do so, not discourages you to not do so, okay? It's really important. So when someone's telling their story, there's going to be some things to watch out for with, are they actually the abuser or are they the victim? Because this happens, right? Very rarely do you have someone say, I'm a victim of a horrible abuse and this person did all these horrible things to me, and this person says, yeah, I sure did. Right? It doesn't happen. It's, this person did horrible things to me. No, I didn't. They did it to me. So what are some things to look for? Okay. These are in no particular order. Some are, but not really. And this isn't covering everything. This is covering some very important parts of this. So one thing you'll notice with an abuser who's falsely claiming they're the victim is a sense of superiority and certainty, right? We're talking about narcissistic people. Abusive people are very narcissistic. We don't have to say they have the personality disorder. We don't have to call them a narcissist. They're narcissistic. Abuse is narcissistic. So that narcissism will come out eventually. They will have that sense of superiority. Look at Amber. Amber was never wrong. Do you remember that? She was perfect. And it was just so unbelievable. I had had several relationships that were extremely abusive to me, and I was the victim. And we don't come out like this. And I'm not saying we're all the same, and I'm not saying that any of you guys, survivors, won't do any of this or think it. It's all of it together, okay? And we doubt ourselves. We have lots of guilt and shame. We tend to downplay things that they've done a little bit, if anything, rather than embellish them. We tell the truth. With the guilt and shame that we have, we tend to not want to say too much. Tell somebody all these horrible things that somebody did to me while I kept them in my life for 10 years. And you know they're going to be like, oh, why did you keep them in your life? So we don't come out saying, I'm so much better than them. We don't feel that way, do we? We have like zero self-worth. And so when I talked about my abuser to people, and what was cool is when I came out of the worst relationship I ever had, the most traumatized I ever was, the worst I ever was, my worst day, I met a bunch of friends, which was weird. But I made a bunch of friends 11 years ago. And I was able to, over the years, recently even, talk to them about some of the things I said to them. It was amazing because they were just getting to know me, and I'm sitting there telling them things like, man, this isn't really like me. This isn't the real me. I was in this really bad, toxic relationship, and I just, I'm trying to feel better and get better, and these kinds of things. I didn't talk horrible. I didn't list everything that they did. I was no better than them. And my stories weren't absolute certainty. I couldn't even describe the stories very well. It was very frustrating for me, and I felt like they didn't believe me. And I don't know how it sounded, but they said that I said things like this, like, I'm not the real me right now, and when asked why or whatever, I'll say, well, I was in just a horrible relationship I just got out of, and I'm just suffering really bad right now, and things like that, okay? So I wasn't any better than my abuser, didn't feel like that. And I didn't know what happened to me in my experiences with absolute certainty, where manipulators, abusers that lie, falsely accuse, and turn the tables, do. They think they're better than you, and they'll talk their victims down as the abuser. Oh, he's a piece of crap, he's a piece of yeah. Not saying, our abusers are sick, and they might be drug addicts, and they might be losers and have financial problems, all these things, and we might say these things, but they're true, and we're not just trying to hate the other person and be so much better than them. And we have self-doubt. Lots and lots of self-doubt. And that's what makes people listen to your stories just go, no fault. I just said, when we come out of this relationship, we have guilt and shame. And I've had clients of mine tell me, they're really like, is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault? Is it my fault what they did to me? What about what I did to them? Huge difference from Amber, misheard, right? Oh, I didn't hit him. Only when the audio tape and the evidence was there that she hit him would she even acknowledge it. Otherwise, I never did it. I never hit him. I never did nothing. And he always did it to me, and he always beat me and blah. I mean, the story was just so twisted around. But she never admitted fault until it was right there, until she had to, and she still didn't. I didn't punch you. I didn't sock you. I just hit you, Johnny. You're just a big baby, big crybaby. Imagine those tables were turned and there was audio of Johnny. Oh, I just hit you. I just slapped you. I didn't hit you or punch you. It was just a slap. God, you're such a little whiny baby. She never admits shame or guilt or fault or guilt. And still, yesterday, after the court, she sent a letter out right away on Twitter. I was going to read it. I forgot. You guys can go find it, I'm sure. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. She's sitting there saying, with all my mountain of evidence that I had, it's just horrible, that I can't be, it's just awful. It's like, Jesus Christ. Never admit guilt. Never. And I'll get to that. Why? Affect, my expressions, should match the experiences I'm telling you. My God. Did you see Amber? Did you see Amber say she was so traumatized by the experience, just it didn't see it in her face? She would get actual emotions, affect that she tried to exhibit to you, she would got them confused. This kind of worry, like this is worry. This is what happens when we talk about these things. No, she would go, it's the weirdest thing ever. Like that. Just lying. Or how about when we cry, we have tears. It's just the weirdest thing. I mean, unless you have some medical problem where you don't tear, your tear ducts don't work. And if you're going to confront a narcissist or somebody on that, then all you have to do is ask them, what's the condition called? Because if they have it, they should know. Yeah. Yeah. Affect must match. You know, if I'm going to sit here, now, if I talk about my abuse that happened a very long time ago, I'm not going to be, I'm healed from it. So when I talk about it, the emotions I had then don't surface anymore. Totally okay with it. Like now, like I'm talking now. As I dove more and more into it, something eventually will come out. If I get emotional, I tend to feel, I start to get a little anger at that this is happening so much everywhere and people aren't getting help and people are getting away with it, stuff like that. Loyalty. So what I mean by that, and this is huge, this is something that I've noticed for a while now, with an abuser telling their story and a victim telling the story, is loyalty. So say somebody is my friend and they now go out on YouTube and make a bunch of videos about me saying I'm a bad person because I did something bad to them. Okay? Now, you'll hear them. You'll hear an abuser say this. Oh, they were my best friend and they were my lover, my husband, my family. I love them so much. I cared about them so much. And then they just trash them. Just trash them. And it could be 24 hours later. Less than. I love you so much. Yes, I love you so much. Next morning, I'm done with you. I'm over with you. And I'm going to go tell the world, they're the worst, nastiest person. Here's some of the things they shared with me. Here's some of the things that they told me in private. And also made up lies. But who does that? I mean, how can you care about somebody today and then tomorrow you just absolutely trash them? Not victims. Abusers. Oh, I love them so much. Loved. Yeah, in 24 hours you don't love them anymore. A week. I love them so much. They were my best friend and I was so good to them. They'll tell you that too. That's what abusers will do. They got rid of you. I did so many good things for them, and I'm not saying that you won't say that. I did everything, like you guys probably did everything for the ex, you know. But and I'll get to the next part here. Opinion. Are they telling a story or are they forming your opinion? Because if I tell a story, I'm allowing you to form your own opinion. I'm saying that this happened to me, and this happened to me, and then they did this. I may not even tell you their name or who it is. I may not want to because you know who they are. But the abuser is telling you the story to form your opinion and then draw the line. Take my side. But what is their motive? I told my story because I just had to get it out. I remember the very worst I ever was. I lost my friends and stuff. And by this time I had one friend left. Friend that I had for many, many years. I was there for them many times. They were there for me too. At my very worst, I couldn't afford therapy. I couldn't do anything. I needed to get it out and I just wanted to talk. And I remember begging my friend in a text, please, can you just listen to me for 10 minutes? I'll be less than 10 minutes and you don't even have to say anything. I just want to get it out. That's a whole nother video, what he said. But that's what I needed to do. And I didn't need to tell this person how bad the other person is. And I'm not trying to get them, and I didn't try to get anybody else to attack them. Right? So, back to the videos. Somebody is my friend. They claim I did something to hurt them. I was a bad person, bad to them. And now they go make tons of videos with my name, with my face. What are they doing? They're trying to get other people to attack me. Is that a victim? Or is that an abuser? I want other people to abuse and mistreat someone else. I'm an abuser, not a victim. Not saying you guys didn't want that. How many of you did it? Okay? Malingering. malingering, grossly or falsely exaggerating physical or psychological ailments. Is this person always a victim? Victim playing, we call it, right? Like I said before, when we tell our story, especially in the beginning, it's hard to admit every single thing. It's hard to admit how bad we feel, how bad it was, every little bad thing they did, and how many times you allowed it. But the victim, the abuser, who's playing the victim, it's bad. Jesus. Because you did this, they have to do this, and they're going to die, and it's grossly exaggerated. So, false accusations. I left this kind of for last for a reason. Projection. I'm going to make a separate video about this, but I'm just going to describe this for a minute. Maybe less. False accusations. So, projection. We use that term a lot when we're talking about narcissistic abuse as survivors. That the narcissist has so much guilt and shame. They don't like who they are, how they feel, and they project it onto us. Okay? So, is that projection when an abuser says, oh no, I didn't do anything to them. They abused me, they cheated on me, they lied to me, they hit me. Is it projection? No. We may have projected before, and it's not being able to live with my own anxieties and things like this, and I know it's wrong and it's hard to accept. Abusers, narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, borderline histrionics, things like this. Abusers scapegoat. They blame. The victim blame. And they'll never admit fault because they don't think it's wrong. Amber thinks it's okay for her to hit people, attack them, make up lies about them, and ruin their life and income, everything. Amber believes that's okay. So without that kind of guilt, it's easier for her to go on and on and on and never stop. And just keep talking and keep looking at the jury, and just lie, doesn't matter. Make up all the false accusations. I didn't beat him, I didn't do nothing. This is how people pass lie detector tests. No guilt. It's not wrong. It's like saying, did you brush your teeth today? Maybe I forgot, but I might be able to get away with saying, yeah, I did. Because I'm a bad person because I didn't brush my teeth, whatever. False accusations. They scapegoat, not project. Projection is something that I'm not saying that disordered people or abusers don't project at all. Yeah, they do. Borderlines very often project, and narcissists will project their own fears, their own insecurities, their own anxieties over their behaviors. But they scapegoat, meaning I'm not bad, they are. I'm not the bad person, because they don't think it's wrong. And one thing I want to leave you with, what can be a pretty good measure to tell who's the victim, who's the abuser, both telling you the same thing, is something with psychopaths, which is very, very hard to tell who's a psychopath, if not impossible. A lot of experts will say it's impossible. You'll never know until they tell you. But there's one thing it's hard to mistake, and we don't need it. It's not a diagnosis. I'm not trying to say that. But when we're around toxic people who abuse, and they're lying, and they're falsely accusing their victim, all these things that I just started describing to you, and things that you've experienced before, and things that have been done to you, when you're around someone like that, it feels bad. It just feels disgusting. And it's a lot different than a victim. I'm not saying a victim telling you their awful stories, someone you care about especially. That doesn't feel good either. You feel bad for them, and you have empathy, and you're compassionate, and you might be sympathizing with them. It might be triggering your own experience and stuff like this, okay? But generally being around gross people like this feels gross. Dirty, gross, bad are common descriptive adjectives for people like Amber Heard. And there is nobody, and I've heard people say that she's charming and fun to be around sometimes. Yeah, I've listened to some people that was not, I listened to some people talk about Amber that know her, that wasn't obviously in the court case and stuff like this, people from her past. And there were people that would say, yeah, oh, she could be funny and fun and charming, you know, like a sociopath. But as they talked about some of the things that she did that was funny and charming and stuff, it was gross. It was always like bad-mouthing other people and judging them and taking drugs and, you know. But you feel gross. One thing you do around a psychopath is feel disgusting. It feels gross. It feels weird. It feels dirty. It feels like, what the hell was that? Just remember that. I know you guys have all felt it before and you will again. That's it for this video. I'm thinking about possibly making more about this case, but I wanted to get into this because this is something that we need to learn from this. And beyond everything else for that, you know, for Johnny and stuff, what we get as a public watching this, being a part of it, is we need to learn that there are people out there that abuse and mistreat others and blame their victim. One thing I hear or see commonly in situations like this is I'll see people say, you must take a side. Be careful. It's not okay to be wrong. Yeah, a lot of people take sides in my life, unfortunately the wrong ones, and I was the one that was damaged by it, so you guys know what I'm talking about. Let me know what you guys think. Yesterday was World Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day, June 1st. Also, the verdict of the case of a horrible, nasty, narcissistic abuser where the mask came off. No matter how bad she lied, we know the truth now. And I believe that's the truth. I believe the right verdict came out. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you. Ask questions, I'll always answer them. Love yourself first. Bye.